Roll up your sleeves, pour yourself a drink because this is Off the Cuff.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another segment of Off the Cuff. We have a great and exciting episode for you guys. This Monday night, I think this is probably when you're watching it, most likely. We, of course, just watched the cool, and I think crowd-pleasing The Circle. Now, this movie currently has a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think more deserving of an 18.
I mean, I think Power Rangers has a higher rating.
Is it really? Did you also search that up?
Okay, I'll fact check really quick.
Fact check that.
For viewers out there, you guys might not know, but we actually did a Power Rangers Off the Cuff, but that is currently the unreleased episode. If you guys want that, please donate to our Patreon. You can get that up. Actually, Power Rangers is 47%.
Wow, that's actually pretty good.
Honestly, I liked Power Rangers. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was pretty good.
Well, let's not forget that we don't remember a lot of it.
We won't get into the schematics of
Power Rangers. Let's not get into it too much.
But The Circle here, this is a weird movie, right? This kind of just existed out of nowhere to me. This movie, of course, stars Emma Watson and Tom Hanks.
I didn't hear a lot about it. There wasn't a lot of hype around it.
No, man. I just saw this poster.
It did seem slightly out of the blue. It seems weird to me that Tom Hanks woke up for this movie.
Dude, no, honestly, Tom Hanks has been in some stinkers. That guy acts a lot more. Maybe not as much lately, but early 2000s, that guy was in everything for a minute. He was banging out films.
Yeah, exactly. But he took a nap after that, and it's weird to see him wake up for this.
Well, didn't we just see him in something?
The last thing he was in was Inferno. What's that?
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. That was still this year.
Was it really?
Sorry, late last year in December. Oh, Sully, that's what I was thinking of. Sully was last year I saw him. And that was last year. The guy's been around.
Wait, he was in that spy movie too.
Bridge of Spies, that one?
Bridge of Spies, yeah.
Yeah, so the guy's been around.
Okay.
But he
that's fair. But it does seem like...
I'll be honest, this is actually the kind of movie I would expect Tom Hanks to be in. I don't really think it's out of place for him. It's kind of like...
This feels like National Treasure.
You're thinking of, what's his name? Fucking Nicolas Cage.
No, but it feels like, what's the other very similar type movie that Tom Hanks does sometimes?
The...
Da Vinci Code.
Oh, yeah. So the Inferno movies or whatever. Yeah.
So it feels like Da Vinci Code without the clues and the treasure.
Yeah, it does feel that way. It feels kind of like, pseudoscience, pseudo-intellectual, higher thinking, and these philosophical meaning behind the movie. And this movie isn't exactly that. It is to a degree, very briefly. But maybe before we get into maybe strictly my thoughts on the movie, Daniel, do you have anything to tell the audience today?
Well, I kind of got to come out and drop a little bit of an honesty bomb, okay? When we rolled into the theater, I got comfy.
Yellow comfy.
Okay, I got a little comfy. I clunked. I passed out. I slept a little. How much? And then I came to quite a bit.
Okay.
If there was when you start climbing the ladder of
success,
climax to the movie, and you start descending the ladder of climax to the movie.
The denouement, if you will.
Yeah, those are the 2 points that I was awake for. The rest, I was asleep. So
if I had to be mathematical on this, I think you were asleep for 45 minutes to an hour.
So a good 60% of the film.
For the record, this movie is 110 minutes, so almost 2 hours. So you missed at least half of the movie.
Right. So a good 50% of the movie.
I would say so. So you were there for the beginning and the very end, basically. And unfortunately, that leaves basically the entire, what's the word? You miss the climax, basically. You miss what really... the events that went down in the film.
However, what it does leave us with is an interesting perspective on what really happened in between those points.
I'm going to do my best to, I'm going to do my best to fill you in on this movie. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not the kind of guy that remembers things very well. I like to take notes. You've seen me watch a movie.
Yes, yeah. When we watch a movie together, I watch and you take notes.
Yes, I like to take notes because, I think things... And whether they're good or bad thoughts, I write them down, and then, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I still feel. I like to do that. That being said, I will do my best to fill you in because we just saw this movie not very long ago, but it's already flooding my memory. I could feel it disappearing. I can feel it disappearing.
Oh, yeah.
But, and that might be a testament to the quality of this film, unfortunately. But, so basically, I'll set the stage. I'm going to go ahead and say spoilers right now. There's going to be probably spoilers in this episode.
Sorry, guys.
The movie has 17%, so if you're not going to watch it, it's probably all right.
And I'm going to go ahead and say that maybe... Well, check it out.
Okay, just give me a second.
Anyways.
I'm just going to talk about it. So basically what happens here, we were introduced to a character played by Emma Watson known as May. Now, honestly, do you think this movie was like maybe like shot like 3 years ago and like just came out now or something like that? That's kind of my inkling on this one. Like, why would she put on a movie just quit so shortly after Beauty and the Beast? That wasn't that long ago.
To me, it felt like she was working on Beauty and the Beast and had just enough time to shoot a couple of scenes, and so they made a movie out of the couple of scenes she was available.
I mean, I'll give this movie credit where it deserves it because like they really have. It's pretty fleshed out in terms of a world, and like the company called The Circle that is kind of like this Facebook or Apple like company. Like, there's a lot of good props, like good set design. Wherever the hell they shot this thing, it made it very believable, as if this thing actually existed.
Okay.
And it makes me believe there was actually a good portion of time into this movie.
Well, they claim in the movie early on that it's in Germany, I think. Right.
And like honestly, I could believe that in terms of like where it was shot, because like this is not like something familiar I've seen before. Because like we're at a point in time now where like a lot of like Los Angeles, Vancouver, Toronto locations are very similar and very easy to pick out.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm just saying, I really thought actually, like, when it came down to the actual facility of this place, I thought it was kind of dope. I kind of liked it.
Okay. That's fair.
I'll get there. So May, of course, played by Emma Watson, is kind of your everyday, girl next door type, where she's just trying to help out her family, just trying to get ahead in life a little bit. She lands a job at this place called The Circle, again, which is like an Apple sort of Facebook.
Google even-esque place.
Exactly. Yeah, very Googly, actually. Very Google. Where they're basically, I think they're founded on like a social networking kind of thing, and their whole idea is everything's connected like a circle. Kind of like how Google works, but also kind of fuck Google for a quick minute.
Yeah, fuck Google and that everything has to be connected because it pisses me off.
Yeah, man, if you would have hated The Circle then. Like, not the movie, but like the actual like software they talk about. You would have hated The Circle.
It sounds like hell, yeah.
Yeah, you would have hated that. You would have no email. Well, actually, they had to be smarter than Google. I guess if Google was better, I'd get into it. That's another discussion for another time, though. That's for the tech podcast we'll start. But anyway, so she gets this job, kind of leaving her family behind. You've seen this up to here, basically. She has a friend named Annie who gets her the job, but of course, who does she leave behind? Easily my favorite character.
So before she joins The Circle, she's at some kind of a call center.
No, I'm just saying really quick, though, that the guy she left is Mercer, her best friend from childhood, played by, I'm going to say it right now, the worst actor acting right now. Mr. L.R. Coltrane.
Maybe the worst actor acting ever.
I would not be hard pressed to say that. I think he is the worst ever. This, of course, is L.R. Coltrane from the hit 2014 release Boyhood. I don't really want to get into my full thoughts on Boyhood right now because I get really heated about it.
You know what? I don't want to get into my full thoughts on fucking name because he's a fake fucking actor and he sucks.
Apparently his birth last name is Salmon. He's been credited under it barely before.
His birth name is Salmon?
Last name is Salmon. Elar Salmon. I just honestly, this movie fucking like. I hate this guy so much. I think he's the worst actor.
He's fucking horrible. Yeah, no, he's horrible. He is in this movie and in the later half of Boyhood. But anyways, yeah, continue. So there's this shitty actor that shows up.
Yeah, and he's her best friend, like the boy next door kind of idea. Really, like they're best friends growing up. They probably should have got married or yada yada yada, or the family wants them to at least, kind of thing. Anyways, so she leaves all that behind to work at The Circle. And as she gets there, she's not really used to it. She eventually becomes more accustomed to the culture and community of The Circle. And that's where things kind of start to heat up. And this, unfortunately, is when you started to doze down. So I'll break it out to you right now. Essentially, she goes and meets John Boyega from Star Wars. I think his name is Finn.
I do remember that, yeah.
Or is it
I remember
Poe?
what he
It's
means.
Finn. It's Finn.
In this movie, it's Ty, though.
Yes, and he's the guy who created like the original social network platform for The Circle, which made them grow.
Right, but he also views it as dangerous.
Yeah, and like that's the flaw of this movie is like his part of the film is pretty interesting, and then they almost never revisit it. That never comes up again, pretty much.
Really?
Well, I mean,
thought that was the whole plot that I missed.
more so his character doesn't come again. Like him, well, it does kind of. I'll get to it. It's really like not that exciting though. Like that was the portion of the film that could have made it more entertaining, but they decided to really focus it just on Emma Watson's character, who really had no connection to the underlying like mythos of the circle.
Right.
Anyways, also this is probably based off a book, which apparently is really good, and I'm going to assume this is a really bad adaptation.
I think it's. I think we should assume that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we should not give the book the benefit of the doubt. Different medium. We've always said that, you know.
Well, I'm just saying, like the story was apparently portrayed better in the book.
Right.
Anyways,
Let's give it the benefit of the doubt either way.
I'm not gonna personally. I think this movie was not as good as the book.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's give the book the benefit of the doubt. Like,
okay.
the book's probably better than the movie.
Well,
it's better than 17%.
Well, you'd think so, right? Like, if they go out of your... Like, this is, like, a really developed, like, mythos. Like, they have a lot going on here. Like, it's a lot... They spend a lot of time on this. And I guess that's the benefit of adaptation, because you have a lot to work with immediately. And maybe that's why this movie was made so quickly. Only for 18 mil, which actually is not that bad. Although it's rocking a 9 million so far.
But it was just released on Friday, no?
Yeah, man, but we've covered movies that have fucking smash shit on the weekend.
Right, that's
like
true.
Fate of the Furious. I know that's maybe a big example because that's like really successful, but like,
well, I feel like
if you have Emma Watson and Tom Hanks in your movie, you should be making more than 9 mil. That's all I'm saying.
It's true. I mean, I'm gonna take a guess that this movie is gonna maybe break even, but it's gonna be close. And
Dude,
it's not going to be that great.
Yeah, maybe when it hits like a worldwide audience, yeah, you're right. It'll probably like
Because where is it right now? Just in North America?
Yeah, I think it's just in North American, maybe European release. But once it hits like Asia and shit, it's gonna make cash.
Man, Europeans, I feel like love Tom Hanks.
Europeans love fucking what's his face, the guy from King's Speech. I don't like him. Colin Firth. Europeans love Colin Firth.
Yeah,
he's kind of the European Tom Hanks in a way.
Actually, he is. So yeah.
But you know,
hashtag this episode. Colin Firth. That's it.
Just hashtag Colin Firth. Sure.
Hashtag Colin Firth.
Hashtag the King's Speech sucks. I'm going to say that right now on the air. King's Speech sucks. Hashtag King's Speech sucks.
It's big words, dude.
That movie fucking sucks.
I actually haven't seen it.
Dude, you're not
I can't say a lot.
You're not missing anything. The guy has a lisp. End of movie. Okay.
Well, I've heard it's extremely boring, so I opted
Dude, it won Best Picture over Social Network. It's like, what?
That does sound
like
sad.
It's like, okay, fair enough, it lost, whatever, but to King's Speech, that movie's like, honestly, that's like watching like the worst episodes of The West Wing on repeat.
What is the Academy paid off or something?
God, man, you're getting really good at your Brendan Trottier impression. Shout out to Brendan Trottier.
Yo, BT.
Okay, so anyways, moving swiftly on here, guys. Oh God, I'm not gonna be able to explain all this.
No, we don't have enough time. Okay, so just break it down.
I'll get to the good parts. I'll get to the good parts. So basically, she actually is feeling kind of pressured by John Boyega's character to like feel a certain way, kind of like he's like saying, you know, the circle isn't what it's all cracked up to be. You know, there's aspects of this company that I'm not into right now.
Yeah.
And she's feeling kind of conflicted because she's like, well, you know, they're helping my family with medical support and like, you know, I have a pretty good life here right now. But what you're saying, it makes sense too. I don't know what to think. So she drives home and she goes kayaking because she likes to kayak, and she gets into a kayaking accident in the water.
Really?
Yeah, this is kind of where things start hitting up. I think this might have been... Anyways, so she gets into a kayaking accident and hits a boat.
With what? A boat.
It's at night, so it's completely dark, and she's just kind of like enjoying herself. And then she slams into a boat and doesn't have a life jacket, so she's stranded in the ocean.
Still seems unrealistic, I'm not going to lie, but anyways, continue.
Well, in the world of the movie, there's these cameras that are watching everything at all times. So they happen to be seeing her having this accident, and then there's able to have like I guess like a rescue team, like what is it called? Like what's like on water rescue? What's that called?
Search and rescue.
Something like that. Search and fuck. You know, you guys know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Anyways, so like a naval team almost kind of thing, like helps her out of the water, and she's fine. She's just kind of like of all the new products that the circle is trying to run out because she's very emotionally attached.
That seems semi part of it.
Yeah, so I'm really trying to fill you in. So she goes transparent. She wears like this little like microphone, camera, I guess just whatever, like a live stream kind of thing on her at all times. And she like vlogs her life for the next couple days. And like everyone around her is like so stoked to see her because everyone around her knows they're on like the world to be seen. It was as if like you Twitch streamed your entire life every day, all time kind of thing.
Right.
It'd be like that, basically.
That is an interesting idea because it is a weird dynamic. Imagining that, if you visit with your friend, you're on camera potentially with the world, right? So you want your appearance to not, the PR, the public relations voice in your head is fucking going ding 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 ding.
Right.
Act positive no matter what. If you're having a bad day or a rough day, doesn't matter. Be positive.
And that does vulnerable, and she doesn't want to. She is like pretty like interpersonal. But
maybe what Ty sees.
Well, he doesn't really come across that again. To be honest, I'll get to that.
Oh, really? Okay.
So basically, what happens is she you call your parents, call your friend, whatever, but they're online too. And it comes to the point where it's really awkward. I generally felt bad for her parents. And then they're like really upset and they don't like talk to her. They don't talk to her daughter for like 3 weeks because they don't want to be seen on the internet because they're super embarrassed. Everyone saw them kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, again, rightfully so. Like, that's the thing about this movie is like, it
might feel the same.
Right. Like, I
could see how that, translates to someone going.
What do you think their their wife or like girlfriend thinks? Like, they're always on camera too. They must have to agree to that, I'm sure.
Oh, I would think that there's probably some behind the scenes discussion. Like, right. I don't like what you said on camera, and I don't want you to act like that towards me on camera. Yeah,
and that's kind of the thing about this movie is that doesn't exist in her like transparency world. She always has to be on a camera, where basically everyone, because they have these cameras all over the world now that can see everything at all. The bad person who's done this thing, she locked her 3 kids in a closet and they starved to death while she was off making a drug trade. Right. So they're like immediately like, this is a bad person. Let's see if we can get the world to find her and like take her in, kind of thing. Under 20 minutes, people on the internet like basically as if someone's trying to go find a fucking Pokemon in Pokemon Go or like running after her.
Well, it's like this person finds a clue and that person finds a clue and this person finds a clue.
And it all happens on it all happens like at live it all happens live at real time kind of thing, like for this press conference she's giving. Yeah. And at that point, everyone's like, wow, because they catch the fugitive. I'm like, that's so cool. And then Tom Hanks and Patton Oswalt are like, now let's try just a regular person, not a fugitive. And then the audience is like, try Mercer. Because earlier in the film, her and Mercer had like a public discrepancy over, it's like not even worth it. Anyways, the public knows about Mercer. And so they're like, hey, you should bring in Mercer, that being her old best friend. And she doesn't want to do it because he's the kind of guy that's just really not into social media, not into people knowing his life. He's a very private person. He's the complete opposite of what the circle is about. So it gets to the point where she gives in and she's like, okay. And she finds him and he is like, God, I hate this guy so much. He's hiding in his house. And like the whole time I thought someone was going to like smash one of the windows to get into the house. Yeah. But instead he escapes from the house, gets into his car. Meanwhile, all these cameras and people are behind him on like motorcycles and there's drones watching him trying to basically get him to stop to be on camera so they can prove that this program works for him. Hanks and Patton Oswalt so that all their emails, all their data are seen. And then she...
because I got the impression... I totally...
You missed the accent and the...
more prominent role. Those would be like... I feel like those are the 3 main things I missed.
I would argue, though, that her rising into a prominent role is kind of a big deal in the movie.
Right. I think that would be generous. Okay. Right? I would say that maybe you got 50% of the direction of the movie. Yeah. I think that's more fair.
Well, you got the setup, so you kind of... By the end of the movie... And, like, it's funny because, like, the middle of the movie, you don't see many of those characters a lot of the time. You just see Emma Watson.
Man, I felt like I only saw Emma Watson the whole movie. Am I crazy to say that?
Well, at the beginning they have Annie. They have Annie and they have John Boyega. And then at the end they have Annie and they have John Boyega. In the middle is just Emma Watson. Like,
really? Because I would say that's very much how I felt during the parts that I saw.
Well, I mean, that's just a more testament. She's even that bad in this movie. I think she's okay. But she's like not really given
to make sure it happens, and that's how the movie was sold to me in the trailer.
I wish that's how it would have went, because like in a way that is what happened, but most of the movie spent just kind of like her like messing around at the circle.
Right, to me,
and at the very end, she's like, I gotta get back at him, and the way she got back at him was so half-assed.
It seems like one of those movies that's trying to ring
schemes with Ty.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see
and
that.
And then she does something, like she puts and then something happens.
Yeah, actually, the way you phrase it, that does sound okay, because I could almost see them phrasing it or putting it almost in the context of like a Black Mirror almost, where it's got this like dark overtone kind of a thing, but it's instead of being a new fucking arc every single episode. I kind of hope not, Kyle. Between us, I hope not.
Well, I mean, it's
I didn't see a lot.
Comfortable in giving a rating, or are you just gonna say?
Okay.
Are you gonna say no this time?
No, I'll give a rating, but I want everyone to understand that I did miss a good portion. And my rating, knowing that I only saw the beginning and end and not the climax.
This is a strange.
Only the setup and finish is what I saw, and you know, I'm gonna give this rating out of 5 a 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay. Now, being a person who's seen the whole film, I go back and forth on this movie. Like I said, I really liked the world for some reason because it like is a bit. It's not. It's the kind of thing where they're not like super like against it. They're not like, oh, Facebook's evil, like it's the devil, you know, and like it's just gonna cause problems. They take a decent middle of the road approach, which I actually
I'm
really
not saying
like.
that I hate the concept, right?
No,
I think because there's some good stuff there.
Well, I'm just kind of saying like what like my final thoughts on the movie kind of thing, like, and because of taking this middle of the road concept, it really kind of built a world I liked, and I liked the tone of the movie, not necessarily being so cynical about it, because I'm like the kind of person where I do, you know, this movie makes that pretty clear, and it was going in an interesting way. And I mean, along the way, yeah, there were some really awkward lines and awkward scenes, and I wanted to punch Boyhood Boy in the face the whole time. Like that was all there. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, just like near like the I guess
that movie was a little bit more. I was a little more emotional at that time. I mean, I could sit here and say like, okay, maybe it deserved a 1.5. All right,
dude. Even there, like a 1.5. Like, okay, I'm not
like,
gonna,
dude, I don't know. What is that? A 30%? Fuck, this movie's got a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, dude. A 2 is generous.
Like, the movie is not good.
I do think it's a harsh score. Keep in mind, I did only see
like the kind of film that actors of this caliber would usually be in.
Am I safe in saying that we're both suckers for movies with interesting concepts?
Well, I mean,
whether the movie's good or bad, the concept maybe sometimes influences the score.
I would like
that I didn't see all of it. But I think that's a good place to leave it. Facebook and YouTube and all that good stuff.
Also, SoundCloud too. Follow on SoundCloud.
Follow on SoundCloud.